Buon pomeriggio a tutte e a tutti. Vi prego di prendere posto, di accomodarvi. Grazie.
Hello, everyone. Please take your seats and thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And my name is Marco Motta. I am a scientific journalist, and for me, it is a great pleasure and an honor to be here with you today. Also with all of the speakers that I will introduce to you later, and also in consideration of these 2 days. I'd like to greet all of those that are joining this conference remotely, and we'll also have 2 speakers connected remotely for the round table. But before introducing the guests, please allow me to say a couple of words on the importance of this day, because a lot of things have been said in these days about the environment and the oceans. And in Bonn, we have the midterm negotiations with a view to the COP28 in Dubai. And a few days ago was the second round of meetings for the Treaty on Plastic Materials. And the issue of plastic will, of course, be reiterated in our, let's say, speeches today, because we know to what extent, of course, plastic has become a visible, let's say, symbol of our era. Less visible is, conversely, the issue of the acidification of the oceans, and we will focus on it during the roundtable. But besides the threats that the marine ecosystems have to deal with, I think that today is an important occasion to also rediscover and focus our attention on the sense of wonder, and also to talk about oceans. Also, when it comes to the high number of and high percentage of unknown that we have when it comes to the oceans. And 10 days ago, in a meeting of scientists, someone said they classified 5,000 new species in this area of the Pacific Ocean, slightly north of the equator. And in the same area,
delle risorse minerarie dei fondali oceanici, il cosiddetto deep sea mining.
And there was the deep sea mining.
Comitato internazionale che deve fare questo tipo di valutazioni. Questo per dire che siamo un po' sul crinale, no? Di conoscenze sempre più.
So we are now dealing with deep knowledge, extensive knowledge on the oceans, and also, of course, a lot still has to be discovered, but also when it comes to new forms of potential exploitation and potential impact. So it is particularly important, I believe, the historical phase that we are going through at the moment. I would like to introduce first and foremost the protagonists of this day. So we have, starting from my right-hand side, Paola Fratarcangeli, the speaker corrects himself, and I can already give you the microphone. From the municipality of Santa Marinella, and Mr. Enei, archaeologist, and he works at the museum here, Dañobeitia, and I hope I've correctly pronounced his name. And then we will find out more about this. And Massimo Chiappini, the director of the environment, director of the Institute of Volcanology. So let's start with our hosts. And I would like to first and foremost give the floor to Paola. Thank you and good afternoon, good evening. I'm here representing the mayor that could not join us and could not be on time at the opening of this event. And together with the INGV and with Flavio, we have embraced, actually, a few months ago. It's an important event, and which is perfect for our territory in this magic place, which is the castle of Santa Severa, which is the castle kissed by the sea, as it is defined by the Lazio region and by all of our visitors. It is a magic place that turns water into its main reason of being, as the director will say later. And here, since the ancient times and the Romans, we had a lot of peoples. So this is a place of welcoming, and therefore we are really glad for hosting an event which is so important and that somehow tries to give more visibility to the problems that in this moment affect us, like climate change, pollution, sustainability, and the livability of our planet. So I would like to greet you all and thank you so much for this extraordinary organization. And we hope that this is going to be the first of many other events. And thank you. Thank you so much, Paola, for your welcome. And I would like to give the floor to Flavio Enei. As it happens in this territory that has, of course, seen a close contact with the sea and with the marine environment. So the Museum of the Sea and of course, this is particularly important. Yeah, we talked about that also this morning because the Museum of the Sea is the museum of the municipality of Santa Marinella, and together with the Museum of the Castle represents the Museum of Santa Marinella, and it is a museum which is devoted to describe the ancient life on the sea and for the sea. So we are working to spread the knowledge of the sea and what this item represented over the thousands of years. And we are underwater archaeologists, and our idea is to check what happened in our coasts. And we also try to understand how this relationship developed over the centuries. So Perge is an extraordinary site. And also in the Etruscan city of Cerveteri, and then there was a colonial fortress. And if you go to the sea and you pass on the side of the castle, you will find this gigantic wall, which is the wall of the fortress of the 3rd century. To defend these units during the famous wars, and also particularly against Carthage. And there's also historical continuity here. But we are also analyzing the coastline. And if you have a look at here, if you had a look here at to take a bath, you should be walking for 11 kilometers and go down by 95 meters. That was the level of the sea like 10,000 years ago. And we have also some isles. There were isles here in front of this area. And well, that was 7,000 years ago. So this is where we had the harbor, and which is a place of encounter between the Carthaginian people, the Etruscans, and also the Greek people. And there's also a sanctuary that used to have a specific worship of the Juno, which prayed for Starte. So but within the same sanctuary, so there was a sort of religious idea that we still don't have, and that was inconceivable. And also, it is important to notice that it was a place of encounter, but we're also dealing with the life at the sea, for the sea, that to tell the stories and the roots, and seeing, for instance, we analyzed the relics of the wrecks, and this is the most ancient, let's say, place. The largest museum in the world, which is under the water. And for thousands of years, everything, of course, was sinking there. And we have a lot of shipwrecks over the centuries, and everything I mean, up to the last century, most of the trade occurred via the sea. So the interest for the study of the sea, also from the anthropological point of view and the archaeological point of view, is very important. And also not to mention the environmental one, because 80% of the living species are in the oceans. And 70% of the earth is made up of water. So as we said, it would be better to and more suitable to call the ocean or ocean planet.
Intervento di saluto, io ringrazio veramente l'INGV per tutto ciò che ha organizzato.
I wish therefore to thank the INGV and the municipality of Santa Marinella and the staff that worked with Nadia, who has gone crazy to organize all this and this extraordinary event. And I truly hope that this is the first occasion out of the many other occasions that will follow. We work a lot with schools because we want to tell about the future, but we want to talk about the past, because without knowing our roots, we'll never understand our time. We will never know who we are and where we're from.
Fondamentale per poter capire il nostro mondo attuale. E quindi spero che
and therefore, I hope that this is just one of the several editions of this event that we're going to organize here. And I will accompany you to the visit of the Museum of the Sea as we scheduled. And then we can deepen some of the topics in a more specific way. So thank you so much for being here.
Grazie davvero, Flavio Enei,
Thank you. Thank you, Flavio, for this message that you have conveyed to us, but also for mentioning how different the situation was 14 or 10,000 years ago. But it's important to consider the evolution of our planet and how impactful our activities are when it comes to our planet. So now,
Paola, Juanjo,
we would like to give the floor to Dañobeitia, who is the Director General EMSO. For those of you that don't know it, well, this is the multidisciplinary observatory of seabeds and water columns. I give the floor to him, and we thank him because he will speak in Italian. And please, you have the floor. Thank you. Thank you, Marco, and welcome. It is a pleasure to be here and open this session. I wish to thank the representative of the municipality that allowed us to organize this event for promoting the health of oceans. I wish to thank Flavio Enei, the director of the Museum of the Sea and Navigation, and also Mr. Massimo Chiappini, my dear friend and colleague, the director of the INGV department. And I wish to thank also, for instance, those that could not be with us today. So my introduction to this day will be short. And I would like to celebrate the oceans by showing some images. This is a very interesting image. So can you understand what it is? The answer is very easy, but surprising as well. This is a picture of our planet taken from the Voyager 1 at a distance of 3.7 billion kilometers. And also,
puntino blu in italiano.
And small light blue dot. Next. But very important is also the fact of identifying where Voyager 1 is. And it is exactly at 24 million kilometers from the Earth. On the 5th of June, we had the latest image. And if we come close to the Earth, it is possible to see how many stars we have and how many galaxies we have. You see the numbers. You see that the total surface of oceans is, well, you see it's 361 billion square kilometers. And you also see the various numbers. But the Earth is the only planet known that has water. And based on our knowledge, it is possible to have ice underwater. Because it is possible to reflect the solar light.
Fino a renderlo liquido. Ciò confidenza a Giove, è il più grande oceano del sistema solare.
And also, this ocean is made of hydrogen and also filled with water. This is the distribution of the regional facilities that we have. And this is what we see when we enter the Mediterranean Sea. And also, it is possible to see that the oceans account for 70% of the surface of our planet. And it's difficult to imagine it, but 97% of the water is represented by oceans. And in fact, our friend was right. This planet should be called a water planet or ocean planet. Anyway, the total surface covered by the oceans is 360 million square kilometers, with an average depth of 3,000 meters. And the number of species that we know and that leave the sea is close to 100 million species. And so far, only a small portion has been identified. And according to the World Registry of Marine Species, the total number is like 5 million of marine species. And also microbes account for an important percentage, and also they also provide an important activity in terms of oxygen. And also they have greenhouse gases and have the power to mitigate, for instance, the effects of climate change. And the oceans also provide food with, for instance, all of the products that stem from the seas and the oceans. And also, it is possible to see 200 million tons of species all over the world. On the other side, the paradox is that we, for instance, have submarines and with cameras or sensors, and we discover new species. And here we have with us our Tyrrhenian Sea, a small portion of the Mediterranean, but a treasure, and a treasury that we have to take care of. It is therefore important that this little blue dot, which is the Earth, preserves the treasure that it cherishes, that is to say, the ocean. It is our duty, therefore, to protect the oceans and the good health of the oceans. So this treasure has to be protected by the science, and we are committed in doing so, also thanks to the activities of the governments in order to pass on this treasure to our next generation. Thank you.
Okay.
So this picture was taken by the son of a friend of mine.
I'm going to finish in English. And this is homage to this guy who was doing, I don't know how many immersions to take these incredible pictures. I talked to his father this morning and I say, I would like to show this to the Italian people and to the world. And he was really happy. And I will send him, but I think this is the way to preserve the oceans and to keep the health of the oceans for longer time. Thank you very much.
Grazie Juanjo. Un applauso anche.
Thank you, and also a round of applause to Francisco, Sarah, and to all those who do their best to allow us to know the greatness and the biodiversity of oceans and marine ecosystems, which is only little known, really. So let us continue with the presentation of Massimo Chiappini, who is the director of the environmental department of the INGV, which is at the heart of the project. And perhaps the role that the INGV has played is perhaps not so well known by the public, the general public. Thank you, Marco. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I've listened with great pleasure to my colleagues. I will spend a few words on the INGV, which is perhaps only known for catastrophes. The Institute is based on three great pillars, studying earthquakes, volcanoes, and the environment. And we also conduct studies in the marine environment. We have human and instrumental resources precisely to study this environment. It is strange that we know better the surface of the moon, but we know very little the seabed. And studying the sea is not so obvious because you need great resources, a lot of logistics, and so it comes at a great financial cost because the marine environment is corrosive, and then the pressures on the seabed are very strong. And so this gives you an idea of how complex this is. Now, we are researchers and we're geophysicists, and we enjoy numbers. And I would like to share with you a few figures because, so why we are here, why we speak about the sea. Well, we take the advantage of this World Ocean Day established by the United Nations. We're very grateful because this allows us to transfer, communicate, and disseminate everything that we do and our studies in the marine environment to mitigate risks. So what are these risks? Well, what do oceans do? Well, they carry out a very important task for human beings because they absorb some 30% of CO2 and some 90% of atmosphere heat. Let us consider that phytoplankton absorbs an amount of CO2 which is equal to the work of to what 4 Amazonian forests altogether would do. So this is an important figure to start with. And then we do not consider the economic value of the sea. Some people estimated that the economic value of the sea is around $5,000 billion, which is the sum of 2 great economies, that of Japan and that of Germany. So protecting the sea eventually means to grant climate stability because we are realizing that the sea has an impact on climate parameters and the other way around because we live in a dynamic planet when there is a great interconnection among all parameters. Then what else? We see that the surface of the sea, the temperature of the sea surface has increased. The acidity of the sea has increased by 30%. So we have to ask ourselves, where do we want to go? How far do we want to go? Fishing, industrial fishing, is impoverishing the fish stock. So maybe the time has come to take some measures. Now, our studies are focused on studying the evolution of this ecosystem, which has become absolutely fragile. And our role as researchers, in addition to conducting studies of a high level, also consists in disseminating information and increasing awareness and accountability. So we have to be more accountable in terms of our behaviors. So this is what we have come here for, together with all our partners. Thank you. Thank you, Massimo Chiappini. Thank you very much for your words and for the data you have shared with us. And this is going to come back when we speak about ocean acidification, which is a topic that is not well known, but that represents a very important topic indeed. I wish to thank the participants in this introductory event, and we hear the names of the participants. So thank you very much for being with us. And I would like to ask Juanjo to stay with us. And now I'm going to invite you to come over the other protagonists of the round table. Thank you for being with us.